Hola.
Hola, ¿dónde estás?
En Portland, Oregon. En
Oh,
mi casa nueva.
tú
Sí,
tienes una casa nueva. Muy bien.
sí,
Celebración para ti.
sí, sí, gracias.
¿Conoces Rebecca y Jesse, Amy?
Um, I think one time I met both of them.
Mm.
Maybe
Hola,
not.
Jesse. Hola, Rebecca.
Hola, no me
Hola a
recuerdo,
todos.
Amy.
¿Mm?
No me
Amy,
recuerdo.
she had
Mm.
long red hair and she tiene un fuego en su pelo.
Sí, sí.
Sí, y a Amy le gustan todos los colores del universo.
Era desde sorry, I forget how to say month. Ah,
Un mes.
sí, un mes.
Sí, sí.
Happy to be back.
Woohoo! How's life?
Did you say how's life?
Yeah,
It's
how's life?
slowing, it slowed down a little bit, so it's
Yay.
going good. Yes. How's your life?
Crazy.
Crazy?
Yeah.
I'll be back in just a minute, Nathan. I need to
Okay.
go get something else to drink. I was in another
Sí.
class. I need a quick break. I'll be
Muy
right back.
bien. Sí. Hola, Stephanie.
Hola.
The OGs are here.
Sí.
Hi, Amy.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good. I have a new apartment that I'm living in.
Oh,
Yes.
exciting stuff.
Yes, life is being less crazy now. But yes, I'm
Oh,
good.
good.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you on the road yet?
Not yet, of course. I think I'm like a month out. I think I can get it done in a month. And that's like not bad. Yeah. So it's
Exciting.
the exciting part where my like my bed frame's up, my neighbor is helping me like build out like the kitchen area. He had like my counter up today, and it's like the fun stuff, like the fun stuff is coming. So yeah, it's going good. Yeah. Yep. And how do you have a new job? How is
Yeah, I have a new job. It's a really random job. I'm working for a pet insurance agency.
Oh, that is really random.
Just paying the bills, that's all. But I get to work in my closet, which is nice. Kind of nice.
Yeah.
But I'm not really doing VIP kid anymore.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Hours are too crazy on the West Coast. So.
Yeah. I can imagine. I'm struggling here and I'm like, oh, it's only gonna get worse. Yeah. Nice.
Hola, Yael.
Hola.
Hola. Hola, ¿cómo están?
Bien.
Bien.
Amy, I don't think you've met Yael yet.
No.
Okay, Yael, Amy, Yael.
Oh, hola, Amy.
Yael knows you, but you don't know Yael.
From YouTube.
Estás famosa. Sí. Una chica famosa. Sí, muy bien. Yael, introduce yourself, por favor.
Sí.
Otra
Claro.
vez, por favor.
Otra vez.
Sí.
Yo soy Yael, yo soy de México, tengo 24 años, soy ingeniero y maestro de español. Maestro.
¿Por qué, maestro?
Porque yo aprendo de Nathan el método TPRS.
Oh, pero tú estás un maestro de español, sí.
Sí, un maestro normal. Quiero aprender más.
Sí, nosotros podemos aprender más. Sí, siempre. Siempre. No hemos terminado. Sí. We're never finished.
Cierto.
Muy bien.
Sí.
Y celebración para nosotros porque Yael está con nosotros. Blanca está en Incheon hoy, so no está con nosotros. Estás. Sí, es una situación triste. Es posible. It's possible. Maybe sometime we'll all be here at one time. Posiblemente. Posiblemente. Okay, before we start, ¿hay preguntas?
Oh.
All right, so we're going to be incorporating a new thing that this is Jing's idea. I don't know if any of you know Jing, but Jing is a TPRS Mandarin teacher and TPRS junkie like me.
And me and everybody else here.
Yeah.
We're all junkies in it.
Yeah, she's taking a bunch of languages right now. Indonesian, German, Korean, Japanese, Spanish.
Oh my gosh.
And maybe some more of the Cantonese and some others. And so she's like, really exposed to the student experience a lot. All in hopes to, acquire new languages, but also to improve herself as a Mandarin TPRS teacher. Because, being a student, there's so many things that you learn that you can't learn if you're not a student. So one of the things that she's noticed for her is it can be really challenging to process function words. So function words are the little tiny words that have a lot of meaning, but it's not a clear meaning. So in Spanish, examples of those would be all the articles, el, la, los, las, all of the pronouns, me, mi, te, ti, le, les, lo, what else? Nos and usted, all of these tiny little words that just go by, de and al and del and yeah. So she was thinking about ways how to make those clearer. And she was a teacher who used gestures a lot. She used gestures to help people know what words mean. But she found that actually using gestures for function words is the most effective use of gestures. And it's a way to essentially color code function words on the fly, because I don't have the capability to just quickly color code something on the screen instantly as I say it for you to see it, So I can use a gesture. So we're going to start using these gestures. And at first, if it feels like the gestures are really overwhelming, okay, just notice that and just let it go. Okay. So because I'm going to be using the gestures so much that you're going to just know what they mean. So at first, because we're introducing Spanish, there are fewer gestures in German, but maybe like 4 or 5 gestures. So anyway, let me just get to it. So anytime I say el or a masculine word, I'm going to be using the ASL sign for boy, which is this. So Elena tiene I don't say el there, but it's, masculine, un gato. So anytime you see me do this, it means it's masculine. It's a masculine word. So ella tiene un gato peligroso. Okay. Ella no tiene un gato simpático, porque ella tiene un gato peligroso. ¿Sí?
Sí.
Sí. Pero yo no tengo. Okay, so when I use an I form of a verb, I'm just going to point to myself. Tengo. Tienes. So if I point at the screen, I'm pointing at you. Tengo. Tienes. Elena tiene. So if I point out to the side, that's he or she. Elena tiene un gato peligroso. ¿Sí?
Sí.
Oh, Amy is. Oh, I was like, bye. She's like, peace. Sí. Elena tiene un gato peligroso, pero yo no tengo un gato peligroso. Yo no tengo una mascota. So in ASL, this is the sign for girl. It's kind of like, you know, if you wear a bonnet. I think it's technically maybe blush or makeup, but you know, okay, these gestures might be a little stereotyping, but anyway.
I learned it as bonnet. Yeah.
Bonnet, yeah.
Bonnet,
So,
tying the bonnet.
Yeah. Yeah. But why can't a guy wear a bonnet? Anyway, we won't go down that road. We won't go down that road.
He can if he wants.
Yeah, let's see. It's a little patriarchal too, that a woman wears this old. Anyway, we're not going to go there. So this is just femenino, femenina. So I don't even know how do you say that in Spanish? Femenina? See, okay.
Femenino.
Oh, well, that's femenino. Weird. I don't know. Anyway, so if you see me do this, it's a feminine word. Yo no tengo una mascota. Yo no tengo una mascota peligrosa ni. Okay, so ni just means negative. I haven't come up with a good gesture for nor yet. So we'll just ni. Ni linda tampoco. Porque yo no tengo una mascota. Pero Elena tiene una mascota. Ella tiene una mascota peligrosa. ¿Sí, clase?
No.
Sí, ella tiene. Rebecca no piensa que ella tiene una mascota peligrosa.
Porque yo creo que ella tiene arco peligroso. No arco. Yeah.
Algo peligroso. Sí, something peligroso.
Yeah, I confused this already.
Yeah. Peligroso, peligrosa. Masculine, feminine. Same word, but just a different ending.
Yeah, because you're using different gesture. So I was like, no, she doesn't have this.
Oh, yeah, see, that's good. So these are about the grammar, the function, and the form of the language rather than content words, because content words are super, super easy to know. I say gato 3 times, you know gato is cat. They have a concrete meaning. They don't need a gesture. They don't need a gesture because their meaning goes by, you know, you incorporate their meaning so quickly because they have a concrete meaning. But function words, their meaning you need to hear over and over and over and over and over. And you need to also hear it and understand what you're hearing in order for you to acquire it more quickly. So the gesture allows you to understand, okay, this means feminine. This means masculine. This means he, she, it. This means I. You. Muy bien. So we have masculine, feminine, and we don't have to worry about neuter for Spanish because there's only two. Woo! Okay, and then we have this other fun gesture, live long and prosper. This is for plural. Okay, so we have two groups. I was doing two, but that's confusing because it looks like two. Like, so then you always have to be like, oh, it's not two, it's plural. So this has nothing other than live long and prosper. So this is just plural. So if I hold this up, it means plural. You don't have to, well, I mean, you can use these gestures, of course, to help you as well. But if you can't do this gesture, then, you know, you don't have to use it a lot, but
Rebecca's
I can do
having
it.
issues.
I'm getting numb.
You can do it this way. I'll understand this one. Yeah. Can you just do your pinky? Yeah. Maybe I have to rethink that gesture too. Anyway, so this means plural. So,
Hey, Nathan,
class,
if you sweep your hand like across our screen, that would mean we, you know.
See,
Or
will
you
actually
all,
be
you
like
all.
we, yeah. And you all.
Yeah.
You all. It's a very weird gesture. So you'll know, okay, what is that weird looking mat? Looks like a stingray, right? Or something. Yeah. Anyway, sí. Clase.
Sí.
Y
Tengo yo unas mascotas.
No.
No.
Sí,
No tienes
sí.
unas mascotas.
Yo no tengo mascotas. Sí, yo no tengo. Pero Elena tiene un gato. Ella tiene una mascota. Clase.
Sí.
Sí.
Es la mascota de, this is the O for of, de Elena, peligrosa o simpática, clase.
Peligrosa.
Sí,
Peligrosa.
sí, es una mascota peligrosa, no es una mascota simpática. Clase.
Sí.
¿Cuál? Which? ¿Cuál mascota tiene Elena?
Gato.
Un gato.
Sí, un
Peligroso.
gato. Sí, ella tiene un gato. No tiene un elefante. ¿Sí?
Sí.
Sí. Pero, ¿quién tiene un elefante, clase?
Rebecca.
No.
Yo.
Rebecca no tiene un elefante.
Dragón.
Sí.
I was
Rebecca,
thinking of Jing in the German class.
sí. ¿Tienes tú o tuviste tú un dragón?
Yo. ¿Tuvo?
Sí, sí,
Yo
correcto.
tuvo.
Oh, sorry,
No,
tuve. Lo
gato.
siento, tuve. Sí.
Tuve. Oh, gracias. Yo tuve un dragón.
Sí, sí, correcto. Celebración para Rebeca. Sí. Tú tuviste un dragón, pero there's my butt. pero ahora mismo, I always want to try and do one-handed, but this means now.
Yeah.
But I probably won't gesture that one anyway. Ahora mismo, because we know that one. Ahora mismo, tú no tienes un dragón. Porque tú estás en otro país. En este país, las personas no permiten. What does this mean, Rebecca?
Permiten plural.
Yes,
In
right.
plural.
They don't permit. No permiten los dragones. Sí. Australia, I don't know how you say that. ¿Cómo se dice en español? Australia.
Australia.
Oh, okay. Australia no permite los dragones. Pero Chino permite los dragones. ¿Sí, Rebecca?
Sí.
Sí.
China
Oh,
permite.
lo siento, China.
China
Sí.
permite los dragones.
Sí.
Dragones.
Sí. Los dragones. Sí. Muy bien. Okay, so far we've got masculine, feminine, plural, I, you, he, she, it, they, us. Okay, there are more, but I'm just going to try and keep it to that for today because it's a lot. And then we have of, right? We have of, de. And then we have del, right? Del. So I just put these two together. Of, el, del. El dragón de Rebecca está en China. ¿Por qué Australia no permite los dragones? Oh, es una situación triste para el dragón y Rebecca. Rebecca, ¿estás tú triste?
Nah, estoy contenta porque
Oh, tú estás contenta. ¿Por qué estás tú contenta?
porque ahora mismo tengo muchos canguros.
Oh, tú tienes muchos canguros. Oh, ¿por qué tienes tú muchos canguros?
Porque estoy en Australia.
Oh, es obvio. Es obvio, sí. No, es obvio. Es
Yeah,
obvio. Sorry. Es obvio. Es obvio, sí. See, I'm learning a new language myself. No, es obvio. Sí, not obvio. Obvio. Sí, muy bien. Cero presión para mí. Para mí. Sí, para mí. Para mí. See, anyway. Yeah, because then there'll be this and this and this. You know, me, te, le, to me, to you. I'm giving something to you, to them. Anyway, okay, so let me share my screen. Hay preguntas. Again, maybe it's a little overwhelming. Just let it wash over you.
Do you see Elena's hand? She's kind of doing the.
She's got it going on.
Sorry, I just noticed that.
She
Almost. Her
knows
thumb's a
what's
little
up.
space, but
What is
She
that?
knows what's up. Oh, she's just
She's
waving. She's just waving.
it almost
but
looks like
it
that.
almost looks like, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, she's doing this.
She's trying to say, yo tengo muchos pelos. Sí. Muchos pelos morados y azules. Sí. Muy bien. Okay. Where's my highlighter? Muy bien. Sí. Hay una chica.
Ooh.
Let's see. ¿Dónde está Elena? Let me change. Yo
Aquí.
Sí, Elena está aquí. Celebración para nosotros.
I had to be you last week, Elena. Good thing you're here.
Last week or the week before? I don't remember.
I don't remember. I was you
No
one time.
recuerdo.
2 weeks ago.
Sí, I think it's 2 weeks ago. Sí.
Mhm.
Muy bien. Clase.
Sí.
Sí.
¿Qué tiene Elena?
Elena tiene un gato.
Oh, un gato. ¿Qué más?
Elena tiene 2 manos.
Oh, ella tiene 2 manos. Sí. Wait, manos? Is manos feminine, masculine, feminine? What's the feminine one?
No, it's feminine, isn't it?
Yeah, las manos.
Las
¿Sí?
manos.
Sí, las manos.
It's one of the weird ones.
Sí. Ella tiene las manos. Sí. Y Elena.
Sí.
Speaking of weird ones, we can really use the gestures to our advantage. Elena.
Sí.
¿Tienes tú un agua?
No. Sí.
Oh, sí, sí.
Sí.
Tú tienes un agua.
Tengo un agua.
El agua is an interesting one. Tú tienes un agua. Tienes tú un agua. We probably say a bottle of water, right? Not
Yeah,
just
sounds
in
very
English.
funny.
In
Un
English, we
vaso.
say
Una botella,
you have a
yeah.
water, but you know we're really talking about a bottle of water. So,
Una botella.
yeah, can
Vaso
you
de
call
agua,
that?
glass of water?
Can you call that un agua in
Una
Español?
botella de agua.
You can actually call it un agua, but that would be very specific. So most of the time it's una botella de agua.
Una botella del agua.
Hey.
Dang it. All right. Well, then we'll just say, do you have water? Okay. Elena,
Sí.
¿tienes tú el agua en tu
Sí.
casa? ¿En tu casa?
Sí. Tengo el agua en mi casa.
Sí. ¿Tú tienes el agua en tu casa?
El agua?
You should
No.
be using your head for.
No, I shouldn't,
no.
because el agua es femenino.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Right,
El
Ayael?
agua.
Sí.
Yeah, it's tricky.
That's why I said these gestures are so helpful, because I can teach you el agua. And okay, my next question is, Elena,
Sí.
¿tienes tú el agua fría en tu casa?
Sí. Tengo el agua fría.
Sí. ¿Qué significa fría, Elena?
Free? No
Cold.
sé. Cold.
Sí. ¿Tienes tú el agua fría?
fría. Sí, tengo el agua fría en mi
Sí,
casa.
sí, tú tienes el agua fría. Sí. Now, el is a masculine pronoun, right? But I was just gesturing here so that you can really see it's feminine. Now I'll switch to el agua fría. Okay.
So wait, why is it L
Because
then?
if you say la agua, it's too hard to hear.
Oh, it blends.
La
Okay,
agua,
okay.
la agua.
Yeah.
So el agua.
They do that.
Sí.
Okay.
El agua.
Got it.
Yeah. It rolls off the tongue a lot easier.
Yeah. They
El
do that in
agua.
French too. Yeah. Okay.
Sí.
Cool.
Muy bien. Elena,
Sí.
¿tienes tú el agua fría en tu casa?
Sí, tengo el agua fría en mi
Sí,
casa.
sí. ¿Tú tienes el agua fría en tu casa, pero tienes tú el agua caliente también en tu camisa?
Sí.
¿En tu camisa? ¿En tu casa?
Sí.
Sí.
Tengo el agua caliente en mi casa también.
Muy bien. Si no tienes el agua caliente en tu casa, entonces estarías triste. Sí. So estarías. I'll get back to you on a good gesture for would be. But see, this is where we need those gestures because when I say estarías, I can demonstrate to you that it means would. However, would, I don't know.
That would be future. So you could point to the future. You know, you were talking to the past and you could go to the future.
No, I was talking in possibility. I was saying if you didn't have, so that's possibility. It's like, it's a parallel reality, an alternate reality. Si no tienes el agua caliente en tu casa, entonces estarías triste. Sí, you would be sad. Muy bien. Amy.
Sí.
¿Tienes tú el agua fría en tu casa también?
Sí, yo tengo el agua fría en mi casa también.
Oh, tú tienes el agua fría en tu casa también. Muy bien. ¿Tienes tú el agua? Would we say caliente or color, Yael?
Caliente. And one other thing that I like to point out that it's better to say tienes agua caliente
Tienes
instead
agua.
of el agua because it's general, not like very specific.
Okay, one more time.
So you should say tienes agua caliente.
¿Tienes agua caliente en tu casa, Amy?
Sí, tengo agua caliente en mi casa también.
Sí, tú tienes agua caliente en tu casa. Pero, Amy,
Sí.
¿tienes tú el misma agua de Elena en tu casa?
Pienso no tengo el mismo agua, la misma agua en mi casa como Elena, porque Elena vive far.
Lejos.
Muy lejos
Muy lejos. Sí.
de ti.
De yo.
Ah, de ti. Muy bien, de ti. Sí, muy bien. Tú no tienes la misma agua. Now here it's different because you have the adverb between la and agua. So here we don't say el misma agua because you don't need the delineation of el agua. Because el agua is the only time where you can't hear la agua, el agua. So, Amy, tú no tienes la misma agua en tu camisa de Elena porque Elena no está contigo y tú no estás en la misma casa de Elena, pero estás tú en el mismo país de Elena.
Sí, estoy en la misma país de Elena.
Sí, tú estás en el mismo país de Elena, pero no estás en la misma casa de Elena. ¿Estás tú? Sí, Rebecca.
Lo siento. Would you say la país or el país?
El país. Sí, el
you would
país.
say el país mismo or el mismo país? Because I feel like
El mismo país.
el mismo.
Yael?
Okay. I thought, okay, no problem. I thought
Sí.
Mismo is not an adjective, is it?
Adverb, right? Adjective, adverb,
I would say
Okay.
adjective.
adjective, the same place.
Okay.
No sé. No sé.
Okay.
And in Spanish, you can technically put adjectives at the beginning or the end. Depending on the adjective, it will change the meaning. Sometimes it won't.
Okay.
So you can say es una casa grande. It's like it's a big house. Es una gran casa could mean it's like a great house. It's a good house. Or it can mean, so depending on where you put it before or after, can change the meaning of the adjective.
Got it.
But mismo, I'm pretty sure misma always comes before the word.
Yeah, because I always hear like casa grande, so I thought just it applies to all. No.
Misma usually comes, yeah. El mismo tiempo, la misma mascota, la misma casa, el mismo país. Sí. Muy bien. Jessie.
Sí.
Amy está en el mismo país de Elena.
Sí.
Pero ¿estás tú en el mismo país de Elena también?
Creo que estoy en el mismo país de. Creo que.
Muy bien.
Where are you, Elena? Where are you?
¿Tú crees que estás en el mismo país de Elena, pero tú no estás seguro? Sure.
Sí.
Tú no estás seguro.
Segura.
Sorry, segura. Gracias. Sí. No estás segura. Certain. Sure. Sí, tú no estás segura. Pero yo estoy seguro porque yo sé dónde está Elena, sí. Pero Elena necesita explicarnos o hablarnos o decirnos dónde está ella. Elena, ¿dónde estás tú?
Estoy en Chicago.
Oh, tú estás en Chicago. Entonces, tú estás en los Estados Unidos.
Sí, estoy en los Estados Unidos.
Sí, tú estás en los Estados Unidos. Amy.
Entonces,
Oh,
bueno,
sí.
entonces estoy segura que estoy en la misma, el mismo país.
De...
De Elena,
Oh,
de
oh,
Amy. Pero
sí.
no Nathan.
Oh, tú no estás en el mismo país de mí.
No, no. Tú estás
Oh,
en Corea, ¿correcto?
oh, ¿en serio? Really? In seriousness? ¿En
¿Verdad?
serio?
¿Verdad?
Sí. Estoy en otro país. I'm like, en otro país. Sí. No estoy en los Estados Unidos. Sí, muy bien. Let's see. Clase.
Sí.
Ahora mismo voy a describir la situación. Hay una chica. La chica se llama Elena. Elena es una chica diferente porque a ella le gustan los animales peligrosos. Entonces, ella tiene un gato peligroso y tuvo un dragón peligroso también. Elena tiene agua fría en tu casa y ella tiene agua caliente en tu casa también. Pero ella no tiene la misma agua de Amy en su casa porque Elena no está en el mismo estado o lugar de Amy. Amy no tiene la misma agua de Elena en su casa tampoco. Porque ella no está en el mismo estado ni el mismo lugar de Elena. Ahora mismo, ustedes describen la situación, por favor, pero yo necesito mi timer. Entonces, un momento, por favor. Ok. Voy a darles, I'm going to give you voy a darles 2 minutos, 2 segundos, 22 segundos. Sí. So you're going to mute yourselves and describe the situation. And let me see, maybe I can mute all of you. Okay. Muy bien. Hay preguntas before we start.
Sí.
Sí, Rebecca.
When you say Australia no permiten, if it's plural followed by that word, los dragones, would you say permite or permiten?
So the permite is allow they or allow it. So Australia, it doesn't allow. So Australia no permite.
Okay, okay. Okay. When we say Elena les gustan, it's because it means to please her, right? Those things pleasing. Okay, okay, that's why. Yeah, yes. I understand it. Gracias.
Gustar, yeah, gustar is a different direction. Gustar goes back to the person doing the liking. Muy bien. Era una buena pregunta. Gracias. Okay. ¿Listos? Fuera. Ok, hemos terminado con la describe la situación. So, ¿cómo fue? Yo hablé por todo el tiempo. Yo hablé más que numbers. 50? No, 50? How do you say 50?
50.
Okay, because 50, 500, and 15, they're all different. They change. So, 50% más que 50%, I don't know. Okay, show me your thumbs. Go. Sí, muy bien. Y 50%. Oh, 50%. 50% is 50%. Por ciento, for 100. So, for 100. Por ciento. Ciento is 100. So, por ciento.
¿Y 100%?
So, yeah, 100%, 100%. ¿Cómo se dice? You say por ciento.
Always por ciento, but the number changes 100%.
100%. 100%. Sí. 100%. 100%. So 10, it's like 10. How do you say 10%?
The same 10%. So like
oh,
you were
10. Oh, 10. Sí, 10. So 100% is 100%.
What's the difference between 100 y 100?
It's just
are they the same?
Yeah, it's just the short version of ciento, I guess. 100. Yeah, 100.
100.
Like when you say 200. No, that's not a good example. Anyway, yeah, there are times where you just say 100, but I can't think of times right now. So, okay, confidence in your speaking. 5, I don't need to look at anything. It just falls out of my mouth. I am native. I'm a native speaker, not a native speaker, but in this amount of language, it is though I am a native speaker. And then 4, I'm doing well. I have to think a little bit. There's some hesitation, but I'm pretty confident that I can do whatever I want. 3, I have to look at things to check myself, but I'm doing pretty well. 2, I'm coming along. I'm doing okay. 1, this sucks. Sí. Muy bien. It would be la misma agua, because the la misma, the misma is changing things. La misma, because it's the same. It's the same. So the is referring to the same and not to the water. You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
It makes sense now. Okay, because I was thinking if it's el misma agua, that would be contradicting to la agua. You know.
Sí. Yeah. Well, it's el agua. Sí, yeah, it's el agua.
La
I see what you're saying.
Agua.
Yeah. La misma agua.
Okay, so it changed back to la. Okay.
Yeah, because agua is feminine, and so you say agua fria and agua, whatever. I can't think of any other words that
cara.
Agua. Oh, expensive. Agua cara. You say agua cara. So you're the misma is going in front, so la misma agua. Yeah.
Okay.
You don't need to say el because you have the misma separating the a from the la. Yeah, it's one of those exceptions to the rule. You know, luckily agua is a pretty frequent word, so. Muy bien. Era una buena pregunta. Oh my gosh, it's already an hour, you guys. It goes by so fast. Okay, let's do breakout rooms. So now you're going to describe la situación con tu amiga o amigo. Ya él es here. Está ahí, aquí. So let's see.
Sorry.
Where? Why? Oh, you're muted now. I can't hear anything you're saying. Still muted. You're still muted. Is there something wrong with your mic? Or is there sound in the background? Can I unmute you? Here, try this. Does that work? Did that work?
Yes.
What happened?
Oh, because I was trying to apologize for the scooter outside of my house. I thought you could hear it.
No.
And I muted myself and I didn't know how to switch it on again.
Oh.
I can't find
it. Alt A always works too. If you have a Mac, it's Option A. Option A or Alt A will mute and unmute you. You can also set the space bar, but the issue with the space bar is if you ever type anything into the chat and then you go to use your space bar again, it won't unmute you. It'll just continue to put spaces in the chat. So you have to click on the mic button again for the space bar to become active for muting and unmuting. So Alt-A will always just work for muting and unmuting. Anyway, we're going to go to our breakout rooms and you're going to have 3 minutes each to describe la situación. And sí, ¿hay preguntas? And Yael is just observing. So you guys can do it on your own. See, here we go.
Oh,
No, Nathan.
Nathan. Oh.
Hola.
I have to go, but goodbye.
Oh, triste.
Adios,
Triste.
Amy.
Adios. Gracias. Okay. Había preguntas. Were there
Sí.
questions? Sí, Elena, pregúntame.
When we're in the breakout rooms, should we just listen, or at the end, like, do we correct each other, like things that we noticed, or is it just to like practice talking?
You practice talking to each other. You can, ping pong with each other and like respond to each other, or you can just describe la situación one after the other.
Okay.
So whatever works for you, but
Rebecca and I talked back and forth.
It just kind of happens naturally, I mean, the technical thing is like, one person describes the situation and then the other person describes the situation, but you're adults, you can do what you want. If it was like students, like kid students in a class, they'd be like, okay, remember, what are we doing in the breakout room? Describe la situación.
Rebecca and I are rebels, right?
Rebels.
See. We make our own rules, right, Rebecca?
Huh?
We make our own rules.
Yeah.
We don't do it exactly.
No.
Había otras preguntas en el breakout room?
No.
Words that you didn't know or were wondering about?
What's the word for like troublesome? Like if something, that was a word that Rebecca and I were talking about. I didn't know what to say for troublesome.
There's one word, problemático.
Oh, that's what I found.
Very good. Rebecca had that.
Sí.
No, I found it in dictionary.
Los artículos pueden ser problemáticos. ¿Sí?
Yes, they are.
Sí. Pueden ser. I said pueden ser.
Oh, okay. Well,
they can be. Yeah, sí.
Can be,
pueden ser. Pero yo creo que son divertidos. Sí. Es la diferencia entre yo y algunas otras personas. It's the difference between me and some other people. And I think that's one of the reasons why I acquire languages so fast is because those difficult things I don't moan about them or worry about them or get frustrated by them. I think they're interesting and I want to know about them and I'm curious about them and I seek them out. And that mindset, the difference in my mindset, allows me to acquire language much faster than if I'm always like, because we do this, you know, we all do this. We all do this. I do this with other things in my life. I don't do it with languages as much. And so I acquire languages more quickly. But there's other things in my life that I really struggle to improve upon because I'm always focusing on the fact that it's challenging or difficult, or I did it poorly, or I didn't do it wrong. And so basically what it is I'm walking and then I'm like, oh, okay, I made a mistake. And then I stand here and I look at my mistake. I look at the crap on the floor and I study it. And I'm like, oh, look at this pile of shit. And then I stand there and I talk about it and I smell it and I poke it. And I spend all this extra time focused on the thing that I don't want to look at. And I'm missing out on, okay, all right, I took a crap, let's clean it up quick and let's move on. You know, it's like we all poop. Everybody has to poop at some point. So let's flush it down the toilet and pay our septic people a lot of money to take care of our poo and move on, you know. So
great visual there, Nathan.
Los artículos.
What a life lesson.
Los artículos son divertidos y interesantes. There's another one, interesantes. There's all these little tiny words that I would love to come up with, you know, simple, easy little gestures. And as I become more fluent in the gestures, you know, I won't have to go so slow. So obviously one of the observations is that with these gestures and incorporating them for the first time, it really slows us all down. But the slowing down is not an issue because it allows us to take more time and really internalize these nebulous, abstract concepts of the language. And so, of course, at first, it's very slow. But as I continue to, you know, masculine, feminine, as you see it over and over and over, because it happens so much in Spanish, you'll just have internalized it and it won't matter. And you'll know instantly, oh, that was masculine, that was feminine, that was masculine, that was feminine, that was plural, that was masculine, that was feminine. So it allows you to have 100% comprehension of nebulous aspects of a language in the moment on the fly, which is what we really need for you to internalize these concepts in a more rapid pace. Because otherwise they just go by. And unless you're someone like me who is practiced and skilled in analyzing every tiny little nuance of the language I hear, it's going to pass you by and it's a lost opportunity for acquisition. This is me helping you capture the opportunity for acquisition of something very abstract. So Jing is so smart, and I'm just so impressed by this idea because it, you know, it's allowing that opportunity for you to be, for literally in this case now, I mean, not everything, because I haven't found gestures for everything and haven't found a way to express everything, but for lack of better terms, literally making everything about the language 100% comprehensible. Because you're getting this extra layer of the grammar along with the meaning, which of course at first is going to take you some extra time to like, okay, what? You know, but yeah. How was it for you? What did it feel like for you?
I feel like because the word we covered today, I already know it. So I think that because we didn't use it, you know, at the very beginning. So if we're a complete beginner and we're learning this very confusing feminine and masculine, I think it would definitely help but I think because I already know the words, so it feels like you're learning something new. Because I use gestures in my class as well, but I don't, because in Chinese we don't have feminine masculine. So I only use the gestures that has actual meaning, like hear, speak, and look. It definitely helps my student. They really like it. But I don't have experience about when it comes to very subtle word, function word that doesn't have actual meaning.
And Jing teaches Mandarin as well. And Jing used gestures for every word in Chinese before. Before, she was using gestures for all the content words in her classes. And she's been teaching her Chinese class now, I think is going on a year. She's been teaching this Chinese class. And now she's just making the switch over to function words because she realized as a student how she didn't need at the beginning, the gestures had the illusion of being helpful because it's totally foreign words. So when she would gesture the content words to the students, they would get the content word because it was so foreign, but they quickly lose their expiration date is very short. Eventually, you know what a cat is because a cat is a very concrete word in any language, has a very concrete meaning. But the expiration date on gestures for function words is, much longer. And so she has switched over to using the gestures for the function words and not using them for content words because, that's where they become really efficient in their use. So, yeah, it's
definitely something I need to think about. It's very interesting, actually. I like the gesture. I think gesture, it's like, another method to remind people the meaning or anything like that. It's just a way to help. It's not like you just rely on that completely. There are so many ways to give people hints.
Yeah. Muy bien. Jesse, Elena?
It was a little confusing for me because I do know sign language, and it was distracting for me. But I mean, if it helps others, that's fine. I wouldn't look at you very much because it was distracting. But I did notice that when you did agua, you said el agua, and you were doing down here, I was going, wait a minute, no, el means masculine. So I learned something. I learned that water is actually feminine, even though it uses el instead of la. That helped me to discern that. So maybe on words that I'm not familiar with, it will be okay. But I'm like Rebecca. I knew the words most of the words that we were talking about today, or at least I thought I did until you said el agua. Yeah. So, but that's just because of my background. Okay. So I'm not really a good person to ask about it. I think Elena probably could give you a little bit better background, or even Yael. But it was hard for me. I'm really curious how you're going to do this in German tomorrow. So
yeah. Well, they're the same gestures. Yeah, they're the same gestures.
What do you do for
and then just neutral?
Neutral. Okay.
Yeah, neutral.
Nathan, is it like a universal gestures for, like, is it the sign language?
No, it's American Sign Language. So
every country is different.
Yeah, every country is different.
Yeah, the Spanish and American Sign Language are pretty close.
Elena, do you have to go?
I have to go, everybody. Sorry.
No.
Nice seeing you all.
Adios.
But yeah, American and Spanish Sign Language are pretty close. They actually the same book. I've seen the same ABCs of learning sign language produced in the Spanish version. It's the same book, but like French and English, British English is totally different. And I don't know about other countries.
Yeah, there's Japanese Sign Language, Korean Sign Language.
Yeah.
There's probably Chinese or Mandarin Sign Language.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I mean, there has to be, because
oh yeah, sure.
There's hearing impaired people in all countries and all places. So.
That's interesting. I think it's a good idea to learn all the words with gesture, you know. It's like
tough. I mean, you're learning 2 languages at a time if you do that. So that would be tough. I know.
No, well, I mean, not really, because I'm not using any grammar for ASL. And, you know, I'm not teaching you ASL. I'm just using, you know,
you're signaling. Yeah, you're signaling male, female type thing. And see, boy and girl, but I would have used man or woman, you know, because the man is at the top of the head and the woman is at the mouth. To me, that would be easier, but there's just so many different ways to do it. And once the people get used to it, that'll be great. Right. As I said, especially with words that I don't know if it's masculine or feminine, or those tricky words like el agua. So I've, as I said, that helped me to learn a new word. But I have trouble if I already know it. I just don't want to look.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
So. Yeah, I think so. I think it definitely happens because you already know it. So it would definitely be like extra burden to look at them, right?
Yeah.
Very distracting. But I think if we start from beginning, like complete beginning, then it should help.
And then for words that we already know, you know, if we're really familiar that el gato is a masculine word, I would start dropping that. But as you introduce new words.
Yeah. So I'm using it because your agreement is inaccurate. So all of your agreements are inaccurate. So you need to know el gato peligroso. So this keying is a lead up, a springboard to the fact that you're preparing your mind to know that you have to say el gato lindo, el gato divertido, or el gato peligroso.
El gato gordo.
Oh, el gato gordo. Sí.
He does not like to be called fat.
Oh, qué lindo. And also, I think part of it is that, you know, in Jesse's case, you know some ASL.
Yeah.
In all of our cases, we know Spanish already, and we know Spanish class without the gestures already. So there's this natural human tendency that when something new comes in, exactly. Even if we are, you know, kind of prepared for it and there's been some preamble, there's always this sense, there's always this negative tint to it.
Yeah.
So
change is always difficult, even if it's like stress. There's good stress and bad stress.
Right.
Distress and eustress. So
right. So I mean, my sneaking suspicion is that after this ASL gesture for you, Jesse, or after seeing this a lot of times, Rebecca, or all of us, then it washes away the past, you know, that we have with it. And it's going to, you know, just become, okay, I know what he's doing. I know what it means. The meaning for masculine has just become more internalized. Where the first time we're exposed to it, of course, it's overwhelming. It's new. It's distracting. Well,
that's why going slow helped. If you've been zipping through it, we've all been going.
Well, and I mean, it's great because I can't, because I'm still acquiring. Okay, I got to do these gestures, you know. But it's fun.
I feel like if you say el agua, like when you do don't do gesture, because it's too confusing. But when you say agua, you do this and it's a hint. Oh, it's feminine. Otherwise, it's like el agua because, you know, it changes every time. And I think it's agua. Yeah. So I think agua, because all we need to know is it's feminine, right? And el agua just comes through when you hear more. So I feel like where we need to stress on is it's feminine. So then just once will be enough. I still think if every word you use gesture, it is kind of overwhelming. I don't know other learners. I think it is definitely a little bit overwhelming for me, every single word.
Sure. So I just have to say this as well, that, you know, as a person who can hear, and as a person who doesn't need to use visual sign language, you know, it's something overwhelming and new for us. So I'll just say that I really feel like that's the experience of this overwhelm, is that you're seeing new information that you haven't lived with. You know, you haven't lived with seeing these gestures for a lot of time. So you're just taking in a lot of new information. And so in this moment, it feels overwhelming and distracting. But as we get, it's just like when you first start speaking Spanish, at first it feels overwhelming. It's a lot of new stuff. So, so I'm considering what you're saying about the gestures. And at the same time, I also know this is the first time you've been exposed to them. And there are several of them, you know, so it's just a lot of information to take in. It's a lot of things to process. So,
give it some time. We'll do it for a while and see how it pans out.
Have to give it a real try.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah. And the reason for gesturing el agua is because it very clearly points out that I'm saying el agua and not just, and el agua fría. Sí. El gato gordo.
El grosso.
Sí.
Gordo.
Oh. Sí. El gato gordo.
Because I said gordo.
Oh.
Grumpy.
It's like, I'm not gordo. No estoy gordo.
Yes, he is.
Estoy perfecto.
Perfecto.
Perfecto. Sí,
Perfecto.
Perfecto.
Oh, goodness. Okay,
Yael, what did it look like for you?
In my opinion, I think that you should try this method because, well, this is my humble opinion. What happened to me with German is that is an example where these function words are very complicated. Sometimes you don't start seeing the patterns until later. When you have repeated the same word like 50 times, 100 times, you have seen it many times. So you start noticing, oh, so this word is masculine and this word is feminine. So the thing here is that I think that these signs are useful to, maybe they can accelerate the process, of course. So it would be, I don't think that it would be bad to try. I think it would be a good idea to try maybe, but if not, I also think that they also come naturally, right? Because as they say, that's as the TPRS books say, that is one of the last things that students learn, to make the correct agreement, the correct nouns, the correct gender. So, but it's a good idea to try. I mean, there is nothing bad in trying always. Right. That's how we improve the method. That's how they improve the method, by trial and error, trying new things, maybe seeing what works better and what not. But I think also it depends a lot on the students, because there are some examples, right, of some teachers who prefer to use this, and some teachers prefer to use this instead, as Rebecca said, that sometimes other teachers use gesture for each word, but it is only rational to stop using them at a certain time, because of course there are many, many words, so you would be overwhelmed. But with these functional words, maybe it can be a good idea to remember that this is masculine, this is feminine, plural, singular, he, she. Those are not necessary words. Those are part of how the language works. And at some point that can help you guys. So I think it's great.
Yeah. It's about making what's currently incomprehensible comprehensible. Because all of those function words are incomprehensible, and there's nothing in the moment that makes them comprehensible other than, you know, like you're saying, stretched out over a long period of time. And especially when you only see students once a week. Like we want to capitalize on every moment that we have to make as much as we can comprehensible. And this makes them comprehensible. So, and again, with the contrast of not having it before to the contrast of having it now, that contrast really does create the sense of like, whoa, you know, versus like if you only started out with it and that's all you ever knew, then you wouldn't have anything to compare it to say, whoa, that's a lot.
See.
So.
I wish there was a way to learn the German declensions, an easy way. I just that's overwhelming for me. Just overwhelming.
And that's part of the hope with the gestures, is that at least you knowing that that's a masculine, that's feminine, that's neuter, and that's declinated, however you say that word, declensionated.
One thing that came to my mind, Nathan, as Jesse said that, is that I think that's also what I do. For example, when I read German, when I learn German, I always notice when I read a sentence, oh, this is dative, this is plural, this is genitive. So I think that some students actually don't do that in their head. For example, like Jesse, maybe it is very overwhelming just to notice the meaning and then noticing the grammar function of the word. So I think that's why it's being hard for some of the students because, yeah, maybe we can do it, you can do it at the same time, right? Or very fast at least. The thing here is not that worrying about processing. Everyone processes at a different speed. So of course, everyone is going to eventually arrive at the same point at noticing, okay, this is this and that. But I think that's why these functions, these functional words, these gestures are overwhelming, because they are doing like double work, noticing those things.
Can I have a question? Why are you guys motivated to learn German? I'm really curious.
Oh, I just love the language.
Oh, okay.
I love how precise and meticulous it is. It's like one of the most precise languages that I've encountered. And my friend Pia, she's German. She's talking about how in philosophy, because German is so precise, there are philosophical things that could be said only in German because of how precise the language is. And English used to be as precise as German. We used to have the same cases as German, but they've faded out of use. And German still has them. And a lot of times German ends up sounding like Old English. Drinkest thou a cup of water. You know, it's very, when you translate it in the German syntax, into, you know, using English words but German syntax, a lot of times it just sounds like Shakespearean English, you know, because a lot of that has, you know, remained in German but has faded out of English. Yeah, and German was my second language that I encountered, I guess you would say. Yeah. Because I took Spanish first period and German second period in high school. And I thought German was harder, which it is, because it's a level 2 for English speakers and Spanish is a level 1. German is the only level 2 language, by the way. It's the only one that is in level 2. It's all by itself. Yeah. So Spanish is a level 1, and I thought Spanish was too easy. So I dropped Spanish after like a semester and did German for 6 years.
What is Chinese?
Chinese is a 5. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Chinese. Well, there is one numbering system that puts it at 4, and there's another system that, so Mandarin, Japanese, Korean, and Arabic are level 5 on one scale, and level 4, they're all level 4 on another scale. There's two scales that I've seen, but I usually say it's a level 5.
I'm gonna use that.
Yeah, most world languages are a 4. German is a 2, and then like Spanish and French and Portuguese and some others that I can't recall right now are level ones.
Italian,
yeah,
probably.
maybe Italian. I can't remember, but yeah, our level ones for English speakers. For English speakers, Russian I think might be a 4 or a 3. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't think I can find it quickly, but
don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see how people, learn, the reason why they learn different language. I mean, if I have chose German when I was in uni, because I chose Japanese instead. And when I chose it, I didn't particularly like Japanese culture at all. Like I knew nothing about Japanese culture, although it was my neighbor, right? It's still my neighbor, sorry. And I chose it, and then I didn't like it when I was learning it. But when I finished learning it and I start to get to know more culture of Japanese, and I start to like it, I like 50%, I like it, 50% I don't quite approve. Maybe if I chose German, I might have the same feeling. Yeah, so that's why
it's kind of that, it's that kind of like when it's new and and you weren't motivated to begin with to do it, it's kind of like, oh, do I really like this? But then things grow on you, the more you are, I mean, this is kind of the thing. This is why we make such a big deal. Make such a big deal about having queer lead roles in movies and having Black representation and Asian representation in Hollywood movies. Because the more people see things, the more people are exposed to things, the less afraid they are of them and the more they like them. So this is why there's so much anger online about how, I'll speak for myself in the terms of, gay men, we get delegated to like the gay best friend or the side role. And we're not the lead male romantic, the male romantic lead that the story is all about and is in mainstream media. So that just further stigmatizes us. It's better than when we're not there at all, of course, provided that there's not a whole bunch of stereotyping. But anyway, this comes to kind of the same thing with, German. Maybe at first it's not something that you're interested in, but as you become more familiar with it, as you spend more time with it, as you intentionally decide that you're going to take it step by step, it can grow on you.
Yeah, it's a cultural experience.
I lived in Germany for a year. I went there not knowing a word. Yeah, and nine, that's about it. But my sister's husband was stationed in the Air Force there. And I had the rare opportunity to spend my junior year of high school in Germany. And I wasn't actually going to take German in high school, but I couldn't pass chemistry. So they said, well, you can drop chemistry and take something else. And I said, well, okay, I'll just take German. And then, we got to practice it, even if it was what I call Tarzan speak. I'd go out there and, go to a restaurant and order stuff and learn to gradually do stuff. But I never really was good at declension. So, I mean, I can sort of put a sentence together, but, if I don't know declensions, it's who knows who gave what to whom. Yeah. So that can get really confusing really fast.
Yeah. Or really interesting very quickly.
True. Gotta be careful what you say.
Yeah, it's I think that declension, so declension means it's this like in Spanish has it as well. It's just for el and la. But with Spanish, it doesn't change the grammar. It changes the masculine or feminine. Like if you're talking about a male or a female, of course, then there's this whole change about non-binary going on in Spanish languages as well that they're trying to figure out, because that's a big problem. But anyway, and then in German, whether you say den or you say der, it's one letter difference, but one says that it's the subject and one says it's the object.
Or the indirect object. You get
well, dame. Yeah, dame with an M. Then it
dame,
becomes
dame or there. Yeah. So accusative, nominative, and
so there's just these tiny, tiny little changes in German that are so interesting that change the meaning. And actually, you can change the word order in a German sentence and say the same thing if you have your declension correct.
Right. Exactly.
And it says the same thing. Yeah. So it's really fascinating. Difference between wer, wen, wem, and wessen. Wer means who, wen means whom, wem means to whom, and wessen means whose.
I didn't know. Oh, that's genitive.
Yeah,
then,
wessen,
right?
yes, wessen. And we have all of those in English as well, but we don't have one word anymore. We say, and most people don't say to whom. We've even lost the use of whom. Which the easiest trick for whom is just if you would say him, then you have to say whom, which works for native speakers, but doesn't necessarily work for non-native speakers. Did you invite him? Whom did you invite?
Yep. And then when you start adding the adjectives in with it and the I'm, the definite versus the indefinite, it's just like,
yeah.
Just shoot me.
Which is where these gestures are hopefully to help, because the gesture signals for you, oh, this is happening. Okay, I can take it in. And again, it's going to take the same thing. You're going to have to, sit with it for a while, get used to the gestures, be comfortable with the gestures. Yeah. Because at first you're going to notice the gesture. You're going to think about, okay, what does the gesture mean? Okay, it means this. And then what did he just say? Oh, he said that. And so at first there's a lot of kind of catch up to do. But after that,
Okay. Well, I got to get, but thank you. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you then. Nos vemos en la clase de alemán. Muy bien.